How's it going, guys? Susa Vision here. As I had mentioned on my previous video, I'll be showcasing my Necro. So let's get to it. I will try to showcase everything, some of the skills, some of the choices. There are still a couple of things that I do need to do to basically get this level, get this Necro actually to, to where I want it. It's just I've been focusing so much on my barb that this basically became a second plan to everything. But we'll go over, I'll show you the skills, show you the gear. We'll try to run a map onto the same video. Hopefully YouTube has allowed me to upload longer videos than 15 minutes. But if not, there will be a second part to this. And so just keep an eye out for that. But just let's get to it. Here it's my my inventory and the gear. So let's start with the one. And I was fortunate enough to find this for, I think was a ist. It was a 3 to blood golem and 3 to golem mastery wand. Once I made the rune word, it actually hit for the 6 golem mastery, which was perfect. The PDR flat came in clutch and some solid defense to help me stay alive a little bit, since I chose to run this build without max block, which is probably the first time that I have done it, and I'm not mad at it. It's been pretty good. I've been staying alive, fairly well. It's just sometimes I will go crazy and try to jump on a pack with might and some other stuff, and then run the risk of dying. But for the most part, has been okay. I was able to pick this baby up for 1.5 at the very beginning of the season. I don't know why people were selling it that cheap, but it it worked out. Unfortunately, the puzzle box didn't hit, so I just threw a soul rune in there just to kind of help with the flat PDR. Doesn't really do much. I probably add something else in there, but it's what's there for now. The obvious choice of Trang's armor with 1 skill. Picked this up for a high rune. Literally, I think was the very first week. It was the first high rune that I was able to swap out. I was doing a lot of shard farming and just switching stuff for Vex. Started offering people 60 shards for a Vex. It worked out 90% of the time, and then eventually I started getting some gear that way. But this was my main focus, and just the fact that it gave me Blood Warp, which is amazing. Here is a little Emmy that I picked up for, I think was for a Vex rune. And then I tried to Desecrate. It hit for all res. It could be better, but it worked out for the resistances on this character. So I just pretty much left it there. The mana and a couple of the other stats work. Not the best, but it does the job. This was probably one of the better little finds that I had. I picked this up actually for a Mao rune, I think, and slammed 3 sockets on it, and couldn't be happier. I may upgrade the diamonds on there for runes. Don't really need it because the res are where they should be, but it's to a point that I have enough currency that I could do it, but we'll see. Not putting too much effort on this Necro as of now, since everything is going on the barb, but it's definitely solved a lot of the skill issues and gave me a couple more curses, and since I'm not running the Trang's gloves, but it definitely solid choice, and I could always use this for a curse Necro at some point if I do choose to. I have Silk Weaves. I used to have a different ring, not a different ring, but a different amulet. They gave me more defensive missiles, and it was really the only choice. Does I have a little bit of fast hit recovery and some mana after each kill? Don't really need it, but the defense does help me stay alive a little bit longer because it goes along with the 100 that I had on the armor. So it helps. It's one of those like shadow stats that doesn't really display, but it does seem to keep me alive a little bit more. I have Stone of Jordan and a Bocatos that I definitely need to slam. And this dropped, I think it was week 2 of the season. And I found better stuff, but I just kept it here. The fast cast rate wasn't bad. Like not like I need it, but it's there. And Grey Forms, just for another summon and some damage to undead. This one actually was the second one. The first one that I had was 100 damage. So I just found something a little bit better, and it's been doing a solid job. I don't have CTA or anything on swap, but I always forget to cast anyway. So, but I'm able to do most of the stuff, Ubitrist and all the mapping. It could do some of the dungeons, but since there's no real reward anymore for them, I, you know, haven't really got the urge to really go and do it. But charms could do a little upgrade. Some of them are lifers, and then the rest are plain. The torch came out pretty good. This was actually found on the Uber Trist that me and a couple of friends been running, and this was the first Annie, first slam, 2 skills, works. Could be better, but I just don't feel like paying 6 plus 10 plus high runes for a close to perfect one. So it's staying, and whatever other character I'm using is just going to get the swap of it. A couple of small charms or resistances just to cap everything out. Let's go over the skills. Pretty straightforward. Clay Golem maxed out, Golem Master maxed out, Blood Golem hitting for a 9k, and I'm sure with concentration it does hit a little bit harder, but it doesn't show it, so we'll just make believe that it's actually working. Maxed out Iron Golem. I don't know if I have a point into Blood Warp or not. I think I do, but yeah, it hits all the caps. And then I think I have maybe 15 points or 16. The remainder of the points, because I do have Amp maxed out and 1 point into Life Tap just for the bossing situation. So my Merc doesn't die, and half of the crew that's with me, so they don't die. I don't have anything into Poison and Bone. It's just, a Golem answer, and I'll show you the Merc and the choices of why I chose certain things. This has been a choice of mine for some reason. Once I started doing the a little before the Green Goblin came to be a thing, I used to just make Skelly like a Skelly type Necro, and concentration does work. It's just, like I said, it doesn't show up on the tooltips or anywhere else. So, but it does improve the Merc's damage a lot. So he basically becomes my 7th Golem in a way. So it's almost like a Merc Mancer. So he's one of my minions. But he does hit like a truck. He hits pretty quickly and doesn't die, because he does recover fast. Once again, the most slapped on gloves for a mercenary in this game, hands down. 20 IAS with 30 facet recovery. They go for cheap. I don't know why nobody else uses this thing, but for a mercenary, for him to stay alive, for him to stay in that pocket hitting, he needs to recover, and he doesn't really die. It works out. So it's 30 here, and then the remainder on the crown. So I got a couple of 15 IAS and some other random, I think it was like 20 jewels. So he does a little bit of damage, does recover fast, attacks fast, has some PDR. PDR could definitely be a 15, but it works. They dropped on a I think it was a Demon Road map. They dropped 2. It was one with 2 sockets and this one with 3. So I'm happy. I didn't have to pay anything. This was the first fort that I made. Bro, The ED rolled okay. Life rolled pretty crappy, but it works. He stays, he hits hard, stays alive. This is the third Nosferatus that I had on him. The first two bricked. The first one was actually perfect, was a 615, but it bricked. The second one also bricked, and then this is the third one that dropped on a map. So it's staying like this. I may at some point upgrade to a 30 IAS one for him, and for some people this might be overkill to waste so much on a mercenary, but he's part of the crew, so I usually spend it. The gores also could be a little bit better, but they're okay. 17 deadly and some open wounds, not bad. So you can see his stats. He does have a little bit of PDR. Perfect reses. This is where I was talking about. I feel like he can improve a little bit more, but that 60 fast hit recovery mark, he doesn't really die. Like you would, if you see him actually on a map, he's just going at it, and the increased attack speed on that, on that almost last breakpoint, it's perfect. So the open wounds, it's okay. Deadly strike, it's it's a good spot. He does grant me a lot of defense. My stats, I'll pop him again. I could probably use a little bit more hit recovery. I may just find a couple of small charms that have it and upgrade it just so I don't die, because he does. If I do get hit, which is not something that should happen, but it's kind of unavoidable at times when you jump into packs. It's part of the process, but yeah. So let me pop open a map. Like I said on the beginning of the video, if YouTube doesn't cut this down, we'll be a one-parter. If it does cut it down, we'll be a two-parter. So just keep an eye out for that, okay? So yeah, guys, here is most of the map. Um, is he the fastest mapper? Absolutely not. Is he safe? Absolutely. Can he do some of the end game content? Yeah, absolutely. You could do Uber Triss with it. I haven't tried to do Diablo clone yet, but I may convert this into a pluggy build and try it. Because I know clay golems are able to, so I couldn't see why um, blood golems wouldn't be able to. But yet they're just a couple little tweaks. But is it good for farming? Absolutely. You could always slap on a Scolder's Ire with a couple of topazes on it and get some pretty good MF since the golems do most of the killing. As long as you're able to do a quick telestomp and run back so you don't get hit, it works out perfectly. You can always add more stuff to the mercenary, and it will always increase your magic fine. But yeah, it's a safe build. It's a good starter. Necro's always a good starter. Just unfortunately, how the price has been fluctuating on the market. Finding Grand Charms early on, it gets a little tricky and costly. So, but definitely something that could be done without it. And yeah, so if you guys have any comments, questions, feel free to leave them down below, and we'll do my best to answer. Take care.